There's never been a more disproportionate and unjustified response to the reboot of a legacy brand than this. Masters of the Universe, Ghostbusters, Teen Titans, Masters of the Universe again, all pale in comparison to this. And for what? For a cartoon that committed the unforgivable crime of being fun. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Thundercats Roar. Thundercats Roar is an animated series that ran 52 episodes over a single season from February to December of 2020, developed as a series of 11-minute shorts instead of full 22-minute episodes to keep the action moving amidst thousands of entertainment options at our disposal 24 hours a day. Their planet exploded, Thundercats, they crashed on Third Earth, Thunder crash! Gotta beat up some bad guys, mummies, mutants, and make some new friends, unicorns, robots. Built a big base with a cat-shaped face, and now they're ready to go. There's Wily Kit, Wily Cat, Tigra, Panthro, Chitara, Snarf, Lion-O. He's a brand new lord with a magic sword. Thundercats Roar. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY for $5 off your order today. Just because I'm not as young as I used to be doesn't mean I don't like to do things that I've done since I was a kid. Play video games, collect action figures, read comics, sit in front of the TV, shoveling sweet and salty snacks into my mouth. Magic Spoon cereal and cereal treats are self-defense against my dereliction of responsibility. They protect adult me from kid me making decisions that worked for kid me but don't work for adult me. Magic Spoon cereal comes in best-selling flavors like Cocoa Frosted, Peanut Butter Chocolate Chip Cookie, or my personal favorite, Fruity. Magic Spoon treats are available in Marshmallow Chocolatey Peanut Butter and 2 new flavors, Double Chocolate and Blueberry Muffin. Eat it in a bowl with a spoon or straight out of the box, because Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving. Just 140 calories. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. And Magic Spoon is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. And Magic Spoon also ships to Canada and the UK. So click the link below or scan the QR code on the screen and use code TOYGALAXY for $5 off, or go to magicspoon.com/TOYGALAXY to save $5 off your order today. And thanks again to Magic Spoon. Thundercats Roar is the Third Earth version of the Thundercats franchise produced by Rankin Bass in 1985. Let's take a Chitara-style run through the evolution of the brand. Rankin Bass was founded by Arthur Rankin and Jules Bass as Videocraft International. In the 1960s, Videocraft quickly became known for their stop-motion animation, specifically their holiday specials like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer in 1964. What followed were a lot more stop-motion holiday specials. Rankin and Bass changed the name of the company to Rankin Bass and continued to produce stop-motion animated specials and traditional cel-animated cartoons. In 1977, they released an animated adaptation of Tolkien's The Hobbit, a made-for-TV movie, followed by Return of the King in 1980. In 1982, they released their 5th feature film, The Last Unicorn, an adaptation of the 1968 novel of the same name. A box office disappointment, it brought Rankin Bass back to television, where they had far more success. In 1985, they partnered with Ted Wolfe, who created a team of space-traveling superhero cat people called the Thundercats. It ran 130 episodes over 4 seasons through 1989 and helped sell millions of toys from LJN, thousands of comics from Marvel's Star imprint, and hundreds of tickets to Thundercats Live. Thundercats ended in 1989, which was also the year that Warner Brothers purchased Rankin Bass's parent company, Lorimar Telepictures, adding the Thundercats to their vast library of media properties that they had no intention of exploiting at any point in the near future. 22 years later, in 2011, the Thundercats returned as a reboot/reimagining of the 80s series that attempted to mature the franchise to the same degree that television storytelling, animation, and the target audience matured in that same time. What should have been a 52-episode first season was cut short by poor ratings and even poorer toy sales. A marketing failure that exposed new challenges facing the owners of legacy brands. How do they address the changing landscape of media distribution? The 80s transmedia saturation playbook of comics, cartoons, toys faltered as the growth of cable television and the internet fractured the audience. Oh, yeah. It was harder to gather people together in a single place at a single time to share a television experience, even with DVRs and on-demand media. Furthermore, how do they exploit a 30-year-old property with a bifurcated audience? How do they weigh the disparity of legacy fans' expectations versus the value of reinventing it to excite potential fans discovering it for the first time? Where do they draw the line between reverence and relevance? Because at the end of the day, every brand is a business and they can only make money in the future, not the past. After the 2011 reboot of Thundercats, the brand went into nap mode, the original fanbase still clamoring for more cats. Fans of the 2011 series hoping for a continuation, both factions divided over which was the ideal version of the mythology, but still pulling in the same direction of a third return to Third Earth. Whispers of a return began at Warner Bros. In 2016. Victor Courtwright was already a writer in animation at the time, working on the Disney XD series Pickle and Peanut. As a lifelong fan of Thundercats, he made sure to let Warner Bros. Know that he was also interested in doing a new series. He'd grown up with the original 80s cartoon and his mind raced at all the potential things they could do with the world. In November of 2016, he visited Warner Bros. With some character sketches, and by February of 2017, he was already working on storyboards. Marley Halpern Grazer was working at Warner Bros. Animation when the 2011 Thundercats series was being produced. He was cube mates with the crew despite not working on the show directly. Halpern Grazer borrowed some DVDs and ultimately fell in love with the original 1980s series. Several years later, he was in a meeting with some executives at Warner Bros. When Sam Register, head of animation at Warner Bros., brought in a stack of artwork Courtwright had produced for the new Thundercats series. Halpern Grazer was in love with the designs, and a few months later, he was officially hired to be the head writer on the series. Courtwright and Halpern Grazer's approach to co-developing the series was simple. They were both fans of the original series, which they saw as near perfect in its form and influence on pop culture. Hundreds of episodes already existed, and there was no way that they could make that show better. By their reasoning, there wouldn't be a reason to do another show unless they thought that they had their own parallel idea that would complement the original series, because they couldn't possibly replace or replicate the magic. They believed they would fail if they tried. They wanted to make a show that was stylistically different from the two previous versions, a new series that gave fans a third perspective on Thundercats. As Courtwright put it in a 2020 interview, quote, "I think a lot of what we're doing is updating the tone of the shows so that modern audiences can find it exciting and get sucked into the storylines in comparisons to all of the new and exciting media that's coming out. Besides that, a lot of what we're doing is a celebration of what they were doing in the original 80s show. I hope that kids watch it, they watch our version, and then get excited about the original show and go and watch that at some point too." End quote. Some episodes of Thundercats Roar recalled events from the original series, while others explored new territory in the world of Third Earth. Animation was produced by South Korean animation studio Sunmin Image Pictures. The new theme song, Thunder Neko, was performed by Shinsei Kamata-chan. Series music was composed by Matthew Jansen, who frequently sampled the iconic original theme. Arthur Rankin passed away in 2014 before the series began development, but Jules Bass served as a consulting producer. Like the original 80s series, Thundercats Roar featured a cast that took on multiple roles in each episode. Max Middleman played both Lion-O and Wily Cat. Erica Lindbeck played Chitara, Wily Kit, and Mandora. Patrick Seiss played Tigra and Mumra. Chris J. Alex played Panthro and the Ancient Spirits of Evil. Snarf's noises were provided by co-creator Victor Courtwright. The rest of the cast included Jim Meskimen, an original character designer at Rankin Bass during the 80s as the voice of Monkeyan. Groon was played by a guy named Thundercat, and original 1980s Lion-O Larry Kenney played Jaga. You can't get any more legit Thundercat street cred than that. Become a YouTube channel member today for $1 a month to get access to an exclusive monthly video. For April 2024, that exclusive video is the history of Youngblood, so click the join button below this video or click the link in the description to become a YouTube channel member today.
Someone is smoking over there.
Something we cats would never do.
Filling their lungs with thick, dark hair.
What a disgusting thing to do.
Cats have 9 lives with 8 to spare. Humans have 1.
With none to barter.
Why do they smoke?
Why don't they care?
Humans are smart, but cats are smarter. Listen to cats, you men and women. Take care of your lungs. They're only human.
The American Lung Association, the Christmas Seal people.
Thundercats Roar was originally announced by Cartoon Network in May of 2018 as premiering in 2019, the 30th anniversary of Warner Bros. Acquiring the rights to the series, but it was delayed until January of 2020, at least in part due to the online reaction from people who were old enough to know better. I won't even say fan reaction, because fan is a term that's been around so long and used to cover such a broad spectrum of interest level that it no longer communicates the extreme nature of the root word it is drawn from: fanatic. For instance, I'm a fan of walking in the woods on a cool autumn afternoon. I'm a fan of the Celtics, even though I can't name all the players. And I'm a fan of the original Thundercats opening theme song, even though I've never seen more than 4 or 5 episodes of the original series, and I don't even like the ones I've seen. The online response to the first teaser of Thundercats Roar in 2018 was not fan reaction. It was disproportionate anger and irrational rage from consumers whose identity was so intertwined with a corporately owned brand that the line between product and self was indistinguishable. They vented their denial and anger over the loss of their identity because a product was rebooted for a different audience, and they sought retribution against the people responsible for its creation. Warner Brothers appeared to balk at that online response, another part of this new modern entertainment landscape that corporate marketers must now navigate. Is the irrational overreaction of the online minority indicative of how people who have never heard of the brand, kids, might react upon seeing it for the first time? Fans of the 80s series and the 2011 series, previously locked in confrontation with one another, suddenly found a cause to unite against. They couldn't agree on which previous series was the best, but they were all certain they wouldn't like this one. Comparisons were immediately made to a similar reboot also by Warner Brothers. Teen Titans ended in 2006 and was rebooted as Teen Titans Go in 2013. The fan reaction was similarly disproportionate relative to the reality of what happened. One version of a TV show ended, and another version began. Thundercats Roar premiered in January of 2020 after a period of corporate silence long enough to make people think that perhaps the vocal online minority had succeeded in stopping Warner Brothers' reboot. The two-part premiere was uploaded to Cartoon Network's website and app, followed by the official beginning of the series in February. CBR's Ruben Behring called the show completely fine and said while it wasn't some sort of surprise masterpiece, it wasn't worth all the rage it initially attracted. Furthermore, Barron said it, quote, might actually be the best Thundercats cartoon, because, as he put it, the original was just as dumb as most 80s cartoons, only sustained in adults' memories by nostalgia and unfulfilled potential. Barron suggested that the 2011 version was ambitious, but not as good as the anime it took inspiration from, and that Thundercats Roar knows what it wants to be, and a few pacing quibbles aside, it does it well. Online fan response continued to be irrationally negative, a lot of their venom aimed at the bad or ugly or lazy design choices. Thundercats Roar was too CalArts style, they said. What is CalArts style? Well, for those who wanted to sound like they were critiquing from a place of detached but informed experience as opposed to knee-jerk emotional response, it was the perfect catch-all analysis. CalArts style as criticism has its roots in the deliberate visual style choices it shared with other contemporary cartoons like Adventure Time, Gravity Falls, Steven Universe, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, etc. The shapes of the characters and their facial features. CalArts is the California Institute of the Arts, one of the biggest and most well-known art schools in the US. Lots of successful artists and animators on lots of different shows with lots of different styles have graduated from CalArts. The school has been around since the 1960s. Walt and Roy Disney were co-founders, and it helped build the Disney animated empire. CalArts style became the go-to criticism for online animation experts around 2010 when it was coined by Ren and Stimpy creator and all-around shitty guy John Kay. He derided contemporary animation as the hollow legacy of Disney's visual style established by the decades of artists handing down knowledge without the understanding of why things looked and functioned the way they did. As if they were just art robots reproducing lines because their teachers told them to do it that way. He believed that he could see those commonalities in their work where they wouldn't or couldn't acknowledge them. They weren't animation visionaries, like him. Fans took CalArts style as criticism to mean anything that looks like Steven Universe is bad and the people who made it are lazy. It was the perfect way to invalidate the work of an artist who attended CalArts or ever worked with anyone who had. And it completely ignored the reality that each era of animation had stylistic similarities because A, everyone is influenced by everyone else in the industry, and B, it was what the consumer wanted at the time. It was successful. The rest of the criticism revolved around the sense of humor. Not necessarily that it was or was not funny, but that the degree of humor in Thundercats Roar had no place in Thundercats at all, because Thundercats is very serious business.
Thundercats at Burger King.
Watch some lives last.
To laugh at the Thundercats was to laugh at fans whose lives were, according to Dan Larson in the 2024 video The History of Thundercats Roar, quote, so intertwined with a corporately owned brand that the line between product and self was indistinguishable. In a rare case of creators striking back at online reaction, Teen Titans Go featured an episode that confronted the negative reaction to Thundercats Roar. The episode titled Teen Titans Roar was a crossover with Thundercats Roar that aired in April of 2020. It took clear, direct shots at the negative reaction. However revealing it is in its honesty, the episode had the unintended consequence of directing even more unjustified anger at the creators of Thundercats Roar. Halpern Grazer had to publicly address how much the team at Thundercats was not involved with the writing of the episode in an attempt to protect himself and his team members from fans. Thundercats Roar was canceled after one season of 52 11-minute shorts. As of this video, it has not been released on physical media and is not available on any streaming site in the US. There are pieces of episodes that Thundercats Roar fans have uploaded to YouTube to share their joy with other Thundercats Roar fans. But it appears for now that Warner Bros. Is attempting to put some distance between fans in the US and the Thundercats franchise. Look, this isn't about fans not being allowed to critique arts or media. Far from it. I'm doing some of that right now. But it would have been absolutely okay to say, I like the original Thundercats and or 2011, and I gave Thundercats Roar a try, but it wasn't my thing. And then not call for the immediate firing of everyone involved. Not everything has to be made for everyone. In fact, everything can't be made for everyone. Follow me here. If Thundercats Roar was even a mild hit, it could have proven the potential viability of the brand, and maybe it leads to another reboot, and then the live-action Thundercats movie fans have always wanted. Maybe a Rankin Bash shared universe with Silverhawks and Tiger Sharks and Karate Cat and Street Frogs. Take Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers, for example. They've each had all kinds of shows and movies and comics aimed at different age groups with a variety of visual styles over the years. Refreshes and reboots and reimaginings. They just keep throwing them out there, doing whatever they can to try to keep the brand relevant and thereby valuable. Some of those reboots did better with the ratings, some with the toys, and some terrible with both. But those continued reboots allowed them to stay around long enough to get rebooted or refreshed again, to roll the dice and see if there's something else there, maybe another voice they can tell stories with. Fans didn't let that happen with Thundercats Roar. Instead, for now, Warner Bros. Potentially sees Thundercats as, at best, a toxic brand, and at worst, totally dead. And it's too bad, because Thundercats Roar is a genuinely funny show with some of the best music ever composed for cartoons, and action sequences to rival every other cartoon that has ever been made. Maybe it will be publicly available again someday. There is hope for the future. Dynamite Comics is poking a finger in the eye of Thundera. New Thundercats comics came out in February of this year, 2024. Issue 1 sold over 100,000 copies. Issue 3 came out as I was writing this video. Perhaps it's a sign that Warner Bros. Is taking the Thundercats temperature, so to speak. Perhaps in advance of a larger media strategy, or, for now, it's literally the least they can do with the license. Time will tell if the Thundercats roar again. Thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy. Several different tiers to address your specific Secret Galaxy content needs. We have a new Secret Galaxy merch shop. Check that out at secretgalaxy.shop. All merchandise is physically in stock and ready to ship. Links to all of this in the description below, and let us know in the comments down below if you had a chance to watch Thundercats Roar. I watched it when it originally aired and really enjoyed it. I am not exaggerating when I say that it had some of the best music ever written for cartoons and some of the smoothest, slickest action sequences. It was fun, fast, and full of heart. People kept trying to compare it to Steven Universe and all of these other very successful shows, by the way, as if that was somehow a bad thing. But as someone who grew up reading Mad Magazine, the visual style, the humor, and the quirkiness reminded me of the Sergio Aragone's column gags, as if that sense of humor and frenetic action came to life and was dressed in Thundercats costumes. As a fan of comics, superheroes, robots, sword fights, spaceships, I don't know how anyone wouldn't like this show. I never thought of fun as being threatening, but here we are. A world with no Thundercats on TV. Congratulations! Is that big enough? Congratulations!